Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather. In this update, we've got severe storms along with very large hail and plunging temperatures with a big flip in the extended range as we'll walk you through the next 10 days. So let's highlight the 500 millibar this morning. You can actually see a significant trough that's going to be diving in and from Canada, bringing those much colder conditions up here into the upper Midwest. They actually had some snow flying yesterday in portions of Minnesota. They're going to be continue to see that deep plunge in temperatures for the next several days. Out ahead of it, we've got some warmer conditions with the southwest flow and a significant low pressure center setting up over portions of the west. All that's going to merge later on this afternoon into the overnight hours of some severe storms setting up over portions of Oklahoma and Arkansas. So out ahead of it, there's the colder temperatures with widespread 20s and 30s this morning into the upper Midwest. But to the south, yeah, these are low temperatures, guys. It has really turned around with that southwest wind. 73 degrees, if not close to 70 in Oklahoma, while it's only 31 in Missouri. So that gives you an idea of the colder air mass on the way, and that clash in temperatures with the northwest flow, that unfortunately that's going to set the stage for some severe storms. But we can talk rain. Rain this afternoon into portions of Southern California, complements of that low pressure center, and that's going to spread across the desert Southwest, bringing much needed rain into Oklahoma. But with this southwest wind, they're going to be getting that severe storms. And to the north, you can actually see that significant trough that's going to be diving down, bringing some lake effects and enhanced snowfall, along with huge temperature plunge going throughout the week as we get into the middle of next week. So, but we're going to be talking about some severe storms later on this afternoon, especially into the overnight hours, with this low pressure center really highlighting and really amplifying with that southwest wind. It's going to be pretty hot in a good chunk of Texas this afternoon, but it's going to be, the big change is definitely going to be coming. But we got one more day of hot before it starts cooling down. But Oklahoma, there's the clash that we're going to be highlighting with that severe storm, unfortunately, setting up, especially into the overnight hours. So let's talk about rain. So yes, we got some much needed rain into portions of Southern California into the desert Southwest. We're likely into the afternoon hours. Very rare to see a slight risk of heavy rain into portions of Southern California, but that is the low pressure center that we're talking about. And then we could have some heavier rain along with that storm activity that's going to be in Oklahoma as well as into Arkansas. So if you are getting value from this video, I need you to hit the like button. It definitely tells YouTube to share this video with others so I can prepare them ahead of the storm as well. So let's highlight those storms into portions of Southern California this afternoon. This is about 5 o'clock, so it's kind of rare to see. I know Southern California doesn't get rain very often, but that low pressure center is going to be overhead, and it's going to be dumping some heavier rains into portions of Los Angeles, into Riverside, portions, even San Diego, into Oceanside. All these areas could be looking at some welcome rains, if not some heavier rains at times, right around 4, 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon. So yeah, some of these could be looking at some healthy totals into the afternoon hours. Well, let's highlight the middle of the country with that cold front as it continues to push southbound. Those are your lightning strikes as we get into the overnight time frame. I'm thinking this is going to be an overnight threat. So after midnight, storms are going to be really starting to get bumpy in a good chunk of Oklahoma and Arkansas. In fact, the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center has that hatched risk. It's been a while since we've seen that. So that's the culprit with that southwest flow and the northwest flow aloft. You got the warm sector with the cold air, got the cold air aloft. That is going to set the stage for some very large hail producers into portions of Oklahoma City, getting back into Little Rock, into Fort Smith, Arkansas, into Edmond, back into North Little Rock as well. Those areas are going to be the highest probability of seeing those large hailstones. We're talking 2 inches or greater is not out of the question. And unfortunately, this is a nighttime threat. So you need to prepare your vehicles and get them under cover, because after midnight, things are going to get bumpy in a big way in those areas as it continues to shift southbound. But in this afternoon, those storms out into Southern California and portions of Arizona could have some quarter-size hail with them as well. So not as significant up here, but still you could be seeing some hail underneath those storms as we get into the afternoon time frame. So, but once we highlight and once we go into the overnight hours, you can actually see the radar lighting up this is about 3 o'clock in the morning, right? I mean, most of you guys are going to be sleeping, so you need to have your weather radios handy with those storms approaching into the overnight hours. So they're really going to be elongating along that cold front in Oklahoma and Arkansas, get into portions of western Tennessee here. But there's much needed rain that's going to be moving in from West Texas. That'll set up over portions of North Texas as we get into Sunday. So these won't be severe. So you don't have to worry about severe weather in a good chunk of Texas. But we're talking much needed rain. It's been over 40 days in the Dallas-Fort Worth area if you've seen a drop of rain. So that streak will end, fortunately, as we get into Sunday with some much needed rain moving in for you guys. And that will shift southbound as we get into Monday. So as we go into Monday, we still got that northwest flow. So we're talking lake enhanced snowfall into the upper peninsula and up here into the upper Great Lakes. And even some first snows of the seasons are going to be starting to fly in portions of Ontario. With that much needed rain pushing southbound, it's probably going to be moving out of North Texas as we get into Monday. But we still got the clouds holding on, but the rain will set up over central Texas. So places like Waco, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, all you're going to be looking at some much needed rain going into your Monday time frame with those much cooler conditions filtering in on the backside. And as we get into Tuesday, you're still going to see that upper level low continue to swirl, dragging down in that colder air. Most of this is going to be lake enhanced snow, but with some of these areas could pick up some 1 to probably 4 inch totals. You saw 2 inches in Duluth, Minnesota yesterday. So we're going to be adding to these totals along the upper peninsula, but that cold front will continue to plunge and move out of the picture. Now by we get into Tuesday, we got some of those rains setting up over portions of Florida and then extending all the way up into Maine. So look at the temperatures by the time we get into Wednesday. This is going to be a drastic difference for a good chunk of the central and eastern 2/3 of the country, and by far the coldest temperatures of the season, with temperatures well below average, anywhere from upwards to over 20 degrees below average in spots, while most of the West and the Pacific Northwest will continue to remain warm. But we do have big changes on the way for you guys. You need to hold on tight, but we got to deal with those much colder conditions as we really max out going into your Wednesday, Thursday time frame. And don't take my word for it. Even meteorologist James Spann out there in Birmingham, Alabama is highlighting this as well. So we're talking about, record low maximum temperatures, potentially as all the way as far south as Birmingham, Alabama, guys. And this is like the middle of October, right? So we're talking a potential high temperature, a high in Birmingham, Alabama of only 53 degrees. That's some chilly stuff for October 18th, right? And it continues to dive southbound, clearing skies, light winds, radiational cooling. We're talking record low temperatures on October 20th. By Thursday, could break even records all the way dating back to 1913, right? So this is some pretty significant cold shot so early on in the season. And I think this is just the beginning of what's to come. If you haven't seen my winter forecast that I put out yesterday, you need to go back and watch that after this video, because there's a big changes extending going into winter. So, but the big flip is going to be taking place after the 20th. We've been highlighting this for a while, but let's take a look at the teleconnections of the Pacific North American uh, the PNA takes a significant dip, right? We've been well above average in the Pacific Northwest. Finally, we're going to be seeing a pretty significant trough that's going to be diving in for you guys, bringing those much colder conditions and bringing some rain, finally rain back in the picture, right? So by the time we get after the 20th, so this won't be really until next weekend, but that's a significant change in the overall pattern. All that colder conditions you're going to be dealing with, it'll warm up on the backside with the ridge building over portions of the central and eastern two-thirds, and then the significant trough will really be diving down, taking the colder air from Siberia, from Alaska, all the way into the Pacific Northwest, and yet we have another low pressure center trying to form off the west coast with, yeah, more maybe much needed rain into portions of California. So you can actually see this significant trough really diving in. So you're getting it up in the Northeast now, but that'll just completely flip as we head into next weekend with this another significant trough going to be diving into the Pacific Northwest and bringing the welcome change that you've been waiting on patiently for an extended period of time. So finally, after the 20th time frame, going into next weekend, the atmospheric river comes back in a big way with heavier rain setting up over portions of Seattle and Portland, along the coast here in Washington and Oregon. Even northern California gets into the action with some much needed rain. But we got snow. It's going to be plenty cold enough where snow is going to be flying and changing over to all snow and a good chunk of the upper elevations of Washington and Oregon, getting into Idaho by then, getting into Montana, the northern portions of Utah, back into the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. We could be looking at another low pressure center off into Southern California, bringing more rain back in the picture for and even into next weekend. And let's highlight that rain, right? So here's the trough over the next 7 days, highlighting that healthy rains in Southern California, across the desert Southwest, into Mexico, into New Mexico here. But there's the much needed rain over Texas, with a good 1 to 2 inches of some healthy rains. There's the storms over Oklahoma and Arkansas, and then this will continue with that upper level low. Some of this will be in the form of snow, but there's your rain prospects over the next 7 days. But then there's the healthy rain finally coming back in the picture after the 20th, with some very significant totals of maybe 2 to 4 inches and just over a couple of days. So they come in fast and furious. You're going to be seeing a drastic change after the 20th, no doubt. And there's going to be a lot of snow to talk about as well. So we got that lake enhanced induced snowfall up here into the upper peninsula. We got heavier snows into portions of Ontario. But after we get back into the 20th time frame, we've got heavier snows moving back in the picture in a good chunk of the Pacific Northwest, and that'll dive down into portions of Utah, Colorado, and even in the mountain regions of New Mexico. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.